Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Sebastian Cruz here, health coach at the Elite Physique Academy. Welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at Gordon Ramsay's, yes, the famous chef Gordon Ramsay's New York strip steak. Now, fine dining as a health coach, I'm very aware is a bit of a calorie trap. You tend to throw a bunch of fats and sugars or whatever it takes for things to taste good, but at the expense of calorie counts and your waistline. But I'm going to be open-minded today. I could be wrong. Maybe Gordon prepares this in a way that's tasty and healthy. So the only way we're going to figure it out is if we watch the video. So let's get right into it and see how Gordon prepares this New York strip.
Delicious spiced rubbed New York strip served with sauteed potatoes and the most amazing mushrooms. Incredible steak, bit of a chef's dream because it's one of the most succulent, one of the most tasteful, and more importantly, one of the most difficult to cook. First off, the spice.
All right, so hate to stop it so quick, but if you saw that steak, there was so much fat on it, so much marbling. Like, you don't really need to add much in terms of fat or sugar because there's already so much taste there. Now, I can tell you from experience, when you take a cut like a filet mignon, even that's lean, you just put a dash of olive oil, salt, pepper, a couple spices, you can still make that bad boy taste really good. And a New York strip is that on steroids because so much fat's already on there. So as the healthy guy in me is already a little concerned because, in my opinion, adding any oil, any sugars is gonna make this way more indulgent than it needs to be. It's already a good cut of meat. All right, let's see.
The rub, it's sweet, it's bitter, it's smoky, it's spicy. It's made with coffee, chipotle. And the secret behind this rub is just pressing it into the steak. I cannot stress how important it is to let those steaks sit out in the kitchen for at least 10 minutes before you cook them. If it's ice cold and so frigid, there's no flavor in that steak whatsoever. From there, hot pan, we're gonna sear it, baste it with garlic, rosemary and thyme, and then take it out and let it rest. I'm a firm believer in cooking it quickly and letting it rest long. Get that pan nice and hot, touch of oil in, because I want to sear this steak and make it sort of caramelized and literally toast all those spices inside that New York strip. As you start to see that first little flicker of smoke, steak up and into the pan she goes. Thyme, rosemary in with the garlic. I want all that seasoning in there as well. If we get this right.
Guys, so far I'm extremely impressed with this. I don't need to tell Gordon that that's a fatty cut of meat, and he's like, all right, noted. Hit it with the spices, put some fresh herbs there, the garlic, only a touch of oil for the pan, which is totally fine. It's not like, yes, there's calories there, but it's not like he bathed it in fat, Like, spices, touch of oil, garlic, he's killing it right now. It's a fatty cut as it is, and he's cooking it in a very healthy way relative to what it is. So props, Gordon. You're doing it. This is awesome. This is completely blowing me away, to be honest.
It's cooked within 3.5 to 4 minutes. Quick sear, lift, and look at that. Flip it over, and then in comes the butter.
No.
Beautiful. Turn the gas off. Tilt the pan.
No. Why? You were on a tear. That was like 100 to 200 calories just of pure fat that this just didn't need. We'll go back, I'll pull a clip from the beginning, but you saw how much white, pure fat was already on this cut of meat. There's no reason to be throwing another 200 to 300 calories of butter in this just for the sake of flavor. There's already so much of it. And this is a personal size steak, so sometimes when you're cooking and you throw a tablespoon of oil, it gets spread out between all the people eating. That butter, that whole chunk of butter he just threw in there, that's all going to one person. So those are those extra calories that are really a killer and make it so brutal when you go out to restaurants and are on a bit of a calorie budget. So hopefully it doesn't add any more. We'll see.
And baste. And this is the secret behind cooking this steak at room temperature. It makes a huge difference. From there, literally out, let that rest. As it rests, spoon on that flavoursome butter. Let that sit there to rest. These are fingerling potatoes. They've been blanched for 3 minutes in boiling water, left to cool down, almost steamed, so they get a little...
All right, so I mean, geez, at least from like a food waste standpoint, it would be a shame to not use the butter once it's there. Potatoes, actually not that caloric until you start deep frying them or doing crazy, throwing crazy things on there. And he said these were boiled so far, nothing else. Can he redeem himself on the potatoes? Let's find out.
Sort of fluffy. I've got great flavour in this pan from the caramelised New York strip. A teaspoon of olive oil in, and what we do now,
not a teaspoon.
We get these potatoes
It's a lot
and
more.
put them flesh side down. I want to sort of rub all that flavour from the bottom of that pan. You want the potatoes to sort of stick to that pan. That side of the potato gets really nice and crispy, and it's got that smoky flavour. I want to take the resting juices from my steak and pour that over my potatoes. That flavour there is incredible.
It's already there, I
down,
guess.
and then see what happens when I turn these over. Look at them, beautiful. See that? That flavour in there is extraordinary. And then finally, before they come out, finish them with a touch of butter. They are beautiful. Ooh la la. Take those out, and look.
Why? You just took the fatty steak that was cooked in fatty oil and fatty butter, you put that on the potatoes, which are already in a bed of oil, and now you put more butter? Like, this is what drives me crazy about fine dining, because these chefs are already so good at what they do, they don't need to do this. It's like Barry Bonds didn't need to put a cork in his bat to hit the ball farther. I mean, maybe a bad example because he was on the juice, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he's too good of a cook to need to resort to these overpowered tactics here. They didn't need that. And that's just going straight to the stomach, straight to fat.
Happened to them. It's like these gorgeous sauteed potatoes. Absolutely incredible. And then just spoon over. Now, portobello mushrooms goes brilliantly well with the steak and king oysters. How do we slice them? Down, and then literally turn that around and slice. When they're this
pretty
small,
good.
find a flat surface on the mushroom and then down. The thinner you slice them, more flavour. The portobello mushrooms, the big ones, slice in half, turn it around and slice it down. Let the knife do the work. Olive oil in first, mushrooms go in. Try and keep them nice and flat across the circumference of the cast iron. Each mushroom, 30% of it is water, so you need a hot pan to saute the mushroom. There's a big difference in taste between a boiled mushroom.
All right, just as a quick note, the amount of olive oil that's been on the pan each time probably averages out to like over 100 calories per time. So just between cooking the steak, cooking the potatoes, cooking the mushrooms, just putting those on the pan, it's already been like 300 calories of oil alone. So the first time I was a little forgiving, but when you're just doing this for every single component of the dish, that adds up too, because again, this seems to be like it's gonna be a personal serving, so we're already getting to just an absurd count of added fat calories. At least there hasn't been anything from a sugar thing as far as I've seen. But boy, you're taking a pretty caloric piece of steak and really just blasting the calories so far, my goodness.
And a sauteed mushroom. We're going to add shallots and garlic only once the mushrooms have been sauteed. Mushrooms take a lot longer to cook. That noise is the water evaporating out of the mushroom. Hot pan, high heat, and get rid of that water. And the flavour left in here is incredible. Gas down, shallots I'm going to sprinkle over there. Bit of garlic over. And then these little babies, they're little thyme flowers. That's going to lift the mushrooms and make them so fragrant. Sprinkle the thyme flowers over. Make a little well in the centre first. Touch of butter in.
Dude, are you serious? I was about to pause and give this guy props. It's like spices. He was doing a good job complementing what are some fatty potatoes and fatty meat with a nice and light mushroom. You know, something low cal, something to take the greasy edge off the rest of the plate. And what does he do? He literally parts the seas of the mushrooms just to throw another scoop of butter in there. I mean, you cannot make this up, but this is what you have to be thinking about when you go out to eat at a restaurant. You're not getting mushrooms, you're getting buttered mushrooms. Add butter to anything you order at a fancy restaurant. Buttered steak, buttered carrots. Because I promise you, this is not unique to this recipe. I promise you it's not. There's just, it bothers me so much because this is why it's so hard to lose weight. Do better. Please. We don't need these calories.
Now, give that pan a great shake. Mushrooms out. Wow, that is beautiful. Now for the exciting part, the bit that chefs love, plating. Look at the shape of the fingerlings. Try and place the fingerlings literally almost bedding into each other, so get the little bends. Your mushrooms underneath your potatoes. Let them sort of cascade onto the plate. From there, one of America's favorite sauces, a smoked barbecue sauce. That's gonna go on the bottom and literally sit at the base of those mushrooms. Clear off the garlic and the thyme.
All right, just a quick note, barbecue sauce, and I'm not gonna give this the benefit of the doubt because nothing in here has deserved it. Barbecue sauce tends to have a ton of sugar, added sugars. Like the stuff that they use to sweeten candy bars and stuff like that. So, not a good combination when you already have so much butter and now you're adding flavor via more added sugar on something that already has a ton of added calories. Not a good look. I'm sure it tastes good. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure this tastes quite lovely, but in terms of being a health option here, yikes. It really, where there's, you know, I really thought at the plating point there would be nothing left to really take this over the top, but I'm gonna be a little more pessimistic given the barbecue sauce.
Don't slice the steak too thin. You slice it too thinly, it dries out. Lift that up, keep the steak intact, sit it on top of that sauce. Open that up, just see how pink that is. And then finally, take those resting juices that were left on your tray. That is amazing flavor. And then just glaze all the way over. And there you have the most amazing spiced rub, New York strip with soty fingerlings and stunning mushrooms. Mmm.
All right, guys, that's the video. As I expected, there were a ton of added calories on here. I mean, 3 different oil additions. Caloric oil. You know, there's alternatives these days like Pam spray, which you can use to make the pan not sticky at almost 0 calories. There was just tons of butter added, which for the steak, totally overkill. Already tons and tons of fat on the New York strip. If you wanted to use a tiny bit, and I mean like a tiny bit, not the amount he used, on the sides, okay, maybe you can get away with it, but when you're going out to fancy restaurants, do not kid yourself about eating healthy. Like, I'm dead serious. Unless you're getting like a salad with vegetables and nothing is cooked, you're probably getting so much more fat and so much more sugar than you think. Because a chef's job is to make things taste good, not to keep you in shape, to keep you happy, to make you think, wow, this is really good. I'm happy I'm paying whatever I'm paying for this. So be very, very mindful of this. When it comes to nights out, budget calories. Like if you know you're going out to like a Gordon Ramsay steakhouse or you're going to something like that, eat a light breakfast, eat a smaller lunch, because when you get to dinner, you're gonna take in so many calories. It's unbelievable. And I hope this video just illustrated you how that happens. It's all in the preparation. They'll sneak butter and sweetness wherever they can because, in their credit, it's to their best interest to do that. You're not there to lose weight, you're there to eat. So anyways, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you for watching the video. This is my first ever reaction video. If you liked it, please leave me a like, leave me what you thought. I don't know if I'll keep making these. Love watching Gordon Ramsay videos, so I might make a few more, we'll see. And if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do it. I'm always dropping stuff for losing weight, staying in shape, being energy efficient with what you eat, making sure you're not getting too many calories. I watch after your waistline, all right? All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Have a great rest of the day. Take care.